Hi everyone, welcome back to Swift with Serhan. Today I'm gonna share with you the first episode of the series of SwiftData. Before diving into the development, I wanted to share with you what we are going to develop and what we are trying to achieve. So, as you can see here, there's a small application which is a note-taking application. We are going to add an item which is going to be done as a task by us. So when you click on add an item, it will present a new screen, and we can enter do the laundry as shown, and when we save, it automatically will be saved to do. And once we are done, we can mark it done, and it will be listed under the done group of list items. Let's give it a try. The second item, for example, we can say do the dishes, and we can save it, and imagine that this entry has been created by mistake, so we can delete it, and it will be deleted from the persistent memory. So I would like to show you that it has been deleted by relaunching the application. So it's gonna build, and it's gonna take time to build, and under to do, as you can see, it is empty, there's no item. Under done, do the laundry is marked as done. Also, we will be able to revert it back, or we can say this is not done. It will be moved to to-do list, or we can completely delete this item under the to-do list or under the done list from the persistent memory. So let's dive into the coding right now to see how we are going to achieve this functionality. Okay, as a next step, we will create our container, which will be shared within the application like an environment object. So let's create our container. It's gonna be share model container, and the type will be ModelContainer, and we will have a schema of this database. Actually, schema which will contain our list of models that we recently created. We will have a configuration. It's gonna be model configuration. We will configure actually our model. For schema, we will pass the schema, and I would like to also indicate this flag is important. Actually, is stored in memory only. We will mark it as a false because we don't want to store our persistent variables or items only in memory. If this one is true, it will save it only to only to our device's RAM, and we will have access to items generated or created by us during the runtime of the application. So it's important to make this flag is marked as a false. But anyway, by default, if we go to configuration, we will see here is stored memory only is by default is false. But for the next episode, I will show you if this flag is true, what is the effect of the of this flag. So we will do catch, since we will try to instantiate our model container. We'll say return try model container schema, for schema, and for configuration we will pass it as a array, and if you run any error, we will say error print error, and error dot localized description to understand what's going on. So basically, this is our model container, which we recently generated or created or instantiated, and we will pass this as a environment variable, like we do what with the model container modifier, and we will say shared container, model container. So what is this model container? What does it do? It's actually what it does, an object that manages an app's schema and model storage configuration. So when we instantiate a model, when we pass our schema, when we pass our configuration, it will allocate a container, like a container within the system for our application. And we also have an error here. It says return enclosure expected to return model container. Most probably we made a mistake actually. Let's check what is the problem. Schema for schema configurations, and return try is fine. Here configuration, and yeah, since we are doing do catch, it expects us to return something in the catch as well. In this case, I'm not sure if you can return nil. Nope, we are not allowed to return nil. So instead of having print, let's say fatal error for now, and on the next episode we will fix this as well. So if we say fatal error, we don't need to return something. The application is going to crash, and we know it's gonna crash. We are letting it to crash on purpose. So our container is now ready to be able to read, write, and access our data. For example, also delete CRUD operations can be done within the node model. So as a next step, we are going to create the UI. Let's create a new folder named as views, and under the views we will have a SwiftUI view, which we are going to name it as a node list view, and we are going to have a list to demonstrate to show the user to do items and also done items. So first things first, we need to inject the model context, which is a native variable, which is an environment actually variable provided by Apple for us to reach our context in order to able to operate our CRUD operations, as I mentioned before, such as deleting, reading, and writing to the container and the models inside the container, basically in the schema. So we are going to have a private var context. It's gonna be private because we will reach the context within this SwiftUI view. Also, we are going to have a navigation stack, since we are going to present a view which will contain the text field for us to enter the node. We are going to have a list. The list is going to contain two different disclosure groups, which first one is to do, and the second one is going to be done. Before basically going any further, let's run our application to see what has been changed, and also if we have done the instantiating of the share model container correctly. We are going to change the initial view with our recently created list view, and yeah, let's run the application. So it takes time to build basically. So we should be able to see the to do and the done disclosure group. Yeah, we have it here now. Currently we don't have any item saved or shown because there we didn't integrate the CRUD operations for our node model. So before continuing with the UI, I would like to mention about this environment model context, and also I would like to mention about our share model container. This container, as I mentioned before, is necessary to instantiate because the environment is allocating a container actually within our memory for us to write, read, and delete our schema tables. It's like an SQL logic basically. So it is important to instantiate this model container and share it with the as an environment object within the whole application. Also, I want to mention about the model context. We are injecting the model context from environment by importing SwiftData library. This model context is important, otherwise we won't be able to reach our schema within the container that is defined. And as you can see, the context is the SwiftData model context that will be used for queries and other model operations within this environment. So the name explains actually what it does, but I wanted to show you basically in a more clear way what is it used for. Unfortunately, we cannot inject the model context currently within our view model if you are going to use an MVVM pattern or another TCA or different patterns. And yeah, and that's it actually about short information about our model context and container. And let's continue with creating our variables. Currently, we will have two variables. One variable will contain the tasks that we are going to create and that are not done. It's going to be under the to-do disclosure group, and the other one is going to be the done list, which we are going to mark them as a done, and we will be able to see the list of done tasks as well. So we will continue with defining our query variables. As I mentioned, we will have two query variables. One will keep the tasks that are not completed. The other one will keep the tasks that are completed. So let's continue with with the UI and also with the variables. So first variable is the one returning us, which are not done actually. As you can see, node is not done. We are using fetch distributor. This allows us to modify our request to the server depending on our needs. So that's why we are using the fetch distributor predicate. So let's jump into the explanation. a type that describes the criteria, sort, order, and any additional configuration to use when performing a fetch. So basically, it's a distributor for adjusting the request from the context for the specific model, for the specific filtering options actually. So other one will be the tasks that are done, which are true, and done nodes. Let's rename it like a done nodes. Also I would like to read the description for the query macro. Query macro is, as you can see, is available when SwiftUI is imported with SwiftData, and basically the aim of using the query macro is to indicate that the variable is going to be query from the context. On the other hand, I will create a simple UI for showing the completed and incomplete tasks. To-do nodes, we will iterate through the to-do nodes, and we will also have ID as a identifiable item for the list. Okay, so we'll have a horizontal stack with alignment of center. We'll have text node.content, which is actually the content for the node that has been written. We'll have a spacer, and the other one is gonna show us actually node.date other.format date. This will be the formatted date that we previously created. This is an extension actually to format the date to show the date of the task. This will only contain the date for now, and for the second disclosure, what we're gonna have is we're gonna iterate through the down nodes, and ID is going to be again our identifiable item for the list, and we are gonna have the head stack again, so we can copy and paste it from here. Obviously we are not done, because we will need to have swipe actions for the list items, and also we will need to have the as I mentioned before, the detail of, it's not a detail page actually, it's a sheet which will be presented to enter the task name, so that when we click save, we will list it under the to-do items. So let's create our add item model view. It's gonna be like a model add item model view. It's gonna inherit the SwiftUI view, and we will have kind of a binding which will bind text for text field, and we will also have a closure. When the on save is clicked, we will return we will inform the parent view that we completed the entering the text actually. So it's going to be in the navigation view, so that we can add toolbar item. Let's continue. We will have a text field as I mentioned before, and this text field is going to have an enter new item placeholder. We're gonna bind the text, and text field style is going to be rounded border text field style. Just this, you can do it as you wish, but this is just the way I did it. And we're gonna have a spacer to push the text field to the top. Actually, apart from this, we're gonna have a toolbar, and we will have actually two items, one save, the other one is cancel. The cancel is going to obviously dismiss the model. Let's define on cancel as well here. Void. Actually, it's not necessary because we are going to return the text. We can check whether this text is empty or not. So here we're gonna have toolbar item, and placement will be cancellation, and the content here will be the button cancel. We'll call on save. Let's rename this actually on complete, so that it will be more understandable. On complete, and we will have another toolbar item which will trigger the which will have a confirm action type of placement, and the content will be here actually a button save, and on complete we will again trigger the closure so that the parent will be aware of whether it is saved or completed or cancelled. I mean, in order to dismiss the model actually. In order to be able to use the model, we will have a state variable which will be changed when the plus button. We will add a toolbar here as well, which will be shown when we click on the plus button, add button actually, add an item button for example. So let's create a toolbar here as well, and then toolbar item, top bar trailing, the content will be button, we will return add item, and we will make it is presenting as true. And we will also need to define the here a sheet in order to be able to present the model. And here we're gonna trigger the add item actually, and we will have a new binding as a new item, and let's create this binding as well. This will be again the state private var. It's private because it's gonna be used only in this view. So we'll have a new text string and be empty. On completion actually, what we are gonna do is that we're gonna it's gonna be new text. On completion we will set the is presenting model as false, is presenting model false, and also here I would like to check guard new text is empty. We will return Otherwise we are gonna enter the insert it into the context and save it. Yeah, what we're gonna do is more context of insert, and we're gonna have a new node instance. Content is gonna be the new text, and is done will be by default false, because the first we are going to mark it as a undone, is not completed, and then we can mark it as a done when the task is completed. So since we didn't enable the autosave, we are gonna do the saving manually. Context.save, try and catch, sorry, it's gonna be catch and print error on saving equal to error.localized description. Okay, so I guess now we are ready to show our model for completion. I moved is presenting model to false at the top, because either way, when the onComplete is triggered, we want to dismiss the model. So let's give it a try with this part. Let's test what we have done so far. It's taking time to build and show. Okay, so we don't have any items added yet. So when we click add item, obviously the model is shown as expected. Now we're gonna do the dishes and save, and it's automatically shown under the to-do list. So let's one more time click and click on cancel. Yeah, as you can see, it is cancelled. I figured out we have one mistake. Actually, we are not making the new text equal to empty string. So after the insertion, we would like to again add new text, make new text as empty. So now it works as expected. So far we have seen how we can add a new item, and the query state, query macro is triggered when the new item is inserted and saved, and we can see the new item into to-do nodes actually. So next step is to add swipe actions actually for each item. So in this case, now I'll create swipe actions. It's gonna be the first one is gonna be mark it as a done. So, and the second one is going to be a delete. So let's implement the first one. So button is gonna be node is done toggle. We will make the false statement as true, so that it will be shown under the done list. Let's have label here for the button. Actually, it's gonna be an image. Check mark. You can use it anything you would like to use, but now I prefer to use check mark. as a tint color green, so that user can understand from the UX that if they mark this as a done, it's gonna be it will be completed and it will be moved to done list actually. Here also I would like to add swipe actions because I want to show the transition between undone and done tasks. Here one more time we will have a button. It's gonna trigger node.isDone toggle. If it's true, this will make it false. Let's have a label again here, and image check mark. Sorry, it's gonna be X mark, and the tint will be red. I'm gonna build it one more time for you to see how it is working. So we have added actually previously one item. Now we can mark it, but the check mark is not shown. Let me see the spelling. Maybe I have okay, I forgot to add system name for the in order to be able to use the FF symbols from the native environment. Let's run it one more time. So let's mark this as done, and it's under the done now. So dishes are done, and we mark it as a done. And let's add one more item to see the also the text is initialized to be empty string after completion. Wash the car, and save. Automatically is under the to do, and mark it as a done, and it is done. Or mark it as a undone, so it's still under the to do. And we can also see now when we click add item, the text field is empty. So one more thing left us actually to add as a swipe action. I will add also the delete action as a swipe action. Here we can add the delete. It's gonna have a trash icon, and basically we are gonna use the context of delete. The node is the node that has been passed to the context, and we will save it actually. Here actually I'm silently doing try context.save. We are not catching any errors here. That's why it's important to know. Maybe in future we will include also catch block for the save item, save operation. But for now I will keep it as a simple, and let's run the application. So you see we have the wash the car under to do, and done do the dishes under the done. So when we mark is as done, it will be done. When we mark it as incomplete, it goes to do list. So when we delete it, it's automatically deleted, and we have no items under the to do. And let's add one more time, wash the dishes, and yeah, as you can see, it's here. We can delete it or mark it as a done. Here also undone, and here also we can delete the completed ones. And yeah, basically this is the basic operations for the SwiftData to insert data, to delete data, to change the status of the data. And also we have here a specific parameter for fetch distributor with the predicate to list the undone and the complete or incomplete tasks actually. And this is how we are listing them. I won't go any further from here basically because I think this is a quite long video to understand. If you have any questions, this source code will be under the GitHub, my profile. I'll also share with you the URL in the description below. And also please do subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and please like my video if you like and if you find it anyhow good and beneficial for you. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask, and I'll see you in the next video then. Bye.